Hey, good morning. This is the Big JB for today's Morning Thunder. It's Tuesday, and you can definitely tell that it's March here in Seattle because it snowed at my house. Snowed last night, like a good couple inches. Now, admittedly, this morning it was all slush, so it didn't have any interruption on school. It didn't prevent me from getting to work. Traffic was surprisingly fine. But of course, once I got out of my neighborhood and out onto the freeway, it was still pretty snowy on some of the side roads, but everything was totally fine. But I couldn't believe it. Oh, excuse me. I just made somebody yawn. Ha ha, you caught my yawn. I couldn't believe that it snowed. So March is weird that way. I remember being a teen and reading a series by Tad Williams, which I fully recommend. I've done a lot of recommendations yesterday. I fully endorse Tad Williams as an author and the Dragonbone Chair trilogy. The trilogy is actually called Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn, named after some objects that are key to the story. Very good books. He's very descriptive. A lot of characters. His books are, like the paperback is like that thick. And in fact, the third book in the series called To Green Angel Tower was so big that they had to break it into two books in paperback. Just massive books, but very good books. But I remember reading it, and there is one of the enemies is the Storm King in it, and he has influence over the weather. And I was reading it in March with the weather changing. So you'd have it be sunny in the morning, and then all of a sudden these massive roiling dark clouds moving in, and it seemed to parallel what I was reading so well. So I really remember that from March. I was listening to a podcast called The Peculiar Podcast. I've mentioned it in my Twitter feeds a couple times. It's done by Pat Cashman and Lisa Foster, and I may have mentioned them here on Morning Thunder before. They are an old radio duo here in Seattle. They used to be on The Buzz 100.7 Radio for Guys. It wasn't Radio for Guys at that point. It was just The Buzz. And it was kind of this edgy alternative radio station, mostly talk. They had all kinds of programming on there, but Pat and Lisa did the morning show, and it was phenomenal. It was clean, which I appreciated, and just absolutely hysterical. The two of them were great. And so they have recently put out a podcast, and I listen to it. Like, I download it. I check Mondays. Like, I'm actively waiting for that podcast to be uploaded. So it's a great podcast. And I was listening to that this morning, and they were talking about St. Patrick's Day. And I'm not going to talk about it today because I'll talk about it on Friday. But they were talking about St. Patrick and how he drove snakes out of Ireland. It's one of the things that he's known for. And I was thinking about Dublin, and I love Dublin. I've been to Ireland. I traveled there for work, and Dublin is amazing. And in Dunleary, where the office was for the company that I was working for, the main office, I sat in a pub, and had fish and chips and, a brew from tap in a pub that's older than the United States itself, which it just boggles the mind. It was really, really cool. I really enjoyed that. And then I was thinking about snakes and how the guy on Pat Cashman said on the podcast that the only snakes apparently that are in Ireland are ones that people bring in. And I was thinking about people, and I can't remember if I've seen somebody carrying a snake on their hand or not in Dublin, but that led me to think of one of my buddies. It's a friend of mine named Arsenio, who works at Valve still. It's done some amazing work there. Started off answering email in the support department just like I did, and has worked himself into just an amazing position there. So, but he was saying that, the people that carry around pets or who are wearing pets out in public, like cockatoos, or they've got snakes draped around them, what they really want is attention. And he said, so you should give them the maximum amount of attention you can. And I love this. He said, what you need to do is holler at them, "You, sir, are the most amazing person I've ever seen." And I can't recall that I've ever actually done that to somebody, but man, that would be so cool. The frustrating thing is that I would also like to have a cockatiel and be able to take it to work, or a ferret or whatever. The problem is, it's not so much that I want to have attention, but that I would like to have a companion like that, but I'm afraid that it would put me in that category. So anyway, that's it for today. A little bit longer today, of course. 5 minutes, 30 seconds. It's not that big a deal. Appreciate a lot of the comments I've been getting on Facebook, and I absolutely appreciate people subscribing through YouTube. Please make sure down below to give this a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you would be so kind. Follow me on Twitter at VoiceOfTheBigJB. I will see everybody tomorrow. Bye.